Hey there, Jim Hart back at you here from the Hart Law Firm. Today I'm going to be talking with you about everybody's favorite topic, and that is all the damn mistakes that people make with their LLCs, getting it set up, running it, operating it, the whole thing. Let's do this. Hi, my name is Jim Hart. I'm the founding attorney at Hawthorn Law, where we help online entrepreneurs just like you get your legal house in order so that you can focus on doing what you do best, and that is building a business that truly matters in the world. Today I want to talk with you about more of the mistakes that people make with their LLC, and I've got 6 of them that I outlined right here. So let's jump right into it. Mistake number 1 is people use the wrong address when they fill out their articles of organization. And by wrong address, I mean the business address. So there's 2 addresses that you're going to have on the articles of organization. You're going to have your business address on the one hand, you're going to have your registered agent address as the other. We're going to talk about the registered agent here in just a minute, but for the business address, a lot of people will just use their home address, which actually is perfectly fine. If you're operating out of your house and you want to use your home address, feel free to do that. However, there are some pitfalls that come with using your home address. And probably the most glaring pitfall is that you are basically publishing for the whole world where you live. And so if you are in an apartment complex where you move around every couple of years, change apartments, whatever, if you're still younger and that's what you do, if you just don't want people knowing where you live, then you probably want to use something other than your home address. Also, you could be living with a bunch of people. You don't want them necessarily getting your mail because it's going to be business related. That could be a big problem. So there's a whole bunch of issues that revolve around using your home address as the business address on your operating agreement. I typically tell people when they call me to schedule an LLC setup call, when we talk about that, I typically walk them through using a virtual address for the articles of organization when they're setting up their LLC. So that can be anything from renting a couple hours per month from a virtual office that's somewhere, down the street from you. You can do that, certainly. Or it could be going to a place like a mailbox, etc., or a UPS store, an Earth Class Mail, and using the address they provide you to forward all your mail. So all your mail will go there, and then they can either forward it to you or you can go in and pick it up. Typically, a better practice to use the virtual address than it's going to be to use your home address. Again, are you going to get in trouble if you use your home address? No, but there are a number of reasons why you may want to just use a virtual address instead. The cost isn't that much. Not having people know where you live might be just a little bit better. Second mistake I see people make is filing their LLC when they don't actually need an LLC. This probably happens more often than you would think. There's a lot of people out there who are starting businesses, and just because you're starting a business, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to have an LLC right out of the gate. You should be coming up with your idea and validating that idea before you start the process of forming a legal structure around your business and at least getting some income. Now, there's a number of reasons why you may or may not want to have an LLC. I've done other videos about that. I certainly talk to people about that when we do strategy calls. And so if you're not at a place in your business where you really need an LLC at this point, then it might be a mistake to set one up prematurely. Now, again, is this something that's going to get you in trouble? No. If you want to set up an LLC and you've got the money to do it, then certainly feel free to go ahead and do that. It might be premature in some cases, but for other people, the converse is true. They wait too long. They've got a business that's established and making a lot of money, and they're still doing it as a sole proprietorship. They probably need to have that LLC in place like 6 months ago. Just some things to consider. Make sure you set up your LLC at the right time. Number 3 is that you don't use a registered agent. This probably is one of those things where I tell almost everyone who sets up an LLC with me that you need to use a registered agent. I don't care if it's me, I don't care if it's someone else. Honestly, I don't make that much money. I think I make like $20 when somebody uses me as the registered agent. It's more hassle than it's worth, but I offer it as a service because I know how important it is. It's like buying insurance. If you don't have it, you're gonna know when you don't have it. Even though you gotta spend that amount each month or each year to have that insurance in place, it is typically a very good idea. A registered agent is kind of like that. So it typically going to cost between $100 and $200 a year to have a corporate registered agent serve in that role for you. It's going to give you time freedom. It's going to give you location freedom. It's going to give you the ability to work when and where you want without worry that you might be missing some sort of legal document. It could be from the state, it could be from someone that sues you, it could be from a taxing authority, it could be about a business license, it could be any number of things. They're going to send it to the registered agent because that is the legal address for service of process on your business as an entity. You have to have that in place. A lot of people make a mistake by not doing that. Don't be one of those people. Number 4 is that people will set it and forget it. What do I mean by that? I mean they go and they file their articles of organization, they get them back from the state, they're like, yay, it's a party, I got my LLC, I'm good to go, and then they take those documents and they like shove them in the drawer, put them on a hard drive on their computer somewhere and forget about them. They don't do anything else. They don't get an EIN number, they don't set up a bank account, they don't get an operating agreement in place. I'm sure they didn't have a registered agent to begin with. So they set it and forget it. This is a huge mistake because when you do that, why'd you waste all the money setting up the LLC if you're not going to use it? That just seems kind of stupid, I think. So make sure if you're going to set up the LLC that you actually use it the way it was intended. Along those lines, number 5, you need to have your operating agreement in place. So this doesn't need to be an overly complicated document. You don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a lawyer to draft this for you, although, you could if you want to. I've got a simple template on my website that you can purchase for sale, or if we set up your LLC for you, you're going to get a templated operating agreement with that. It's only 5-6 pages long. Honestly, if you're a single member LLC, if it's just you running the business, you're a solopreneur, you're small potatoes at this point, you just need to get going, you need to get started, then this is going to be sufficient. Now, if you have a bunch of partners, if you're doing millions of dollars a year in business, then yeah, you probably need a more established operating agreement. And in those situations, I definitely recommend going to a lawyer and having them draft it for you. But you need to have the proper operating agreement in place for you. So if you're just starting out, a simple templated operating agreement like the kind that you can find on my website or by purchasing our LLC services, that's going to be sufficient. If you're more established, then you're going to need a lawyer to help you draft it for you and make sure it's got all the things that need to be in an operating agreement. Number 6, and that is the DBA. This is an issue with people. I just read another Facebook post today about this. I don't understand. People think that when they're starting their business, the name of their LLC is the name that they're going to be ultimately trademarking someday. It's going to be the name of their brand or their product or whatever needs to be the LLC. Nothing could be further from the truth. In actuality, your LLC can be one name and the brand that you're selling or the products you're selling could be something completely different. So for me, my initials are JWH. It could be JWH Media or JWH Marketing Company. You can use whatever you want as the name of your LLC, but when you do start selling under a brand, if you're actually selling as the brand and not the LLC, then you want to make sure that you file, and the name varies by state, but it's either a DBA or a doing business as or a fictitious name or a registered name or something like that. It's called something different in every state. Just make sure you have registered that name with the state, and the reason you do that is number 1, to make sure that nobody else is selling under the same name in your state. Pro tip here, you probably also want to do a trademark search for the name. But anyway, make sure nobody else is using it in the state. Also, if somebody looks to see who's associated with that brand name, by filing that DBA, you're also telling the state what business is selling under that brand name. So that's going to be really important. The cost is minimal. It's usually $10, $15, $20 a year. I don't even know if it's an annual fee. It might just be a one-time filing fee. I think it's probably going to depend on the state you're in. You file that paperwork and then you're all set to go. You're good to go for that. And then you got your DBA in place. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, that's all we got. If you want to check out more videos about mistakes people make with their LLCs, I've done the 2020 edition is right over here. I think I did a 2020 edition. Check it out and I will see you in the next video. Thanks folks. Peace.